Hello everyone, you're watching Game Over Cancer here at day 2. My name is Selkuthmind, you can call me Sel, and I am super excited to be your host for the second half of the day. We've got an incredible schedule coming up. But of course, we are here raising money for the Canadian Cancer Society, and I just want to remind everyone a little bit about them very quickly. So the Canadian Cancer Society was officially formed in 1938, and thanks to generosity supporters, they have funded thousands of researchers and invested more than $2 billion in cancer research. And because of this, the survival rate is now about 64%, which is absolutely incredible. So continue getting your donations in. I'm super excited for our next run here. And so we've got a dazzling experience. It is ColonelFatso here with an incredible 1cc scoring showcase of RayForce. Let's go.
Hi there. I am ColonelFatso. With me, I've got Doc Viper to help commentate. It's going to be kind of a busy run, so I'm going to probably shut up for the majority of this, and let Doc handle the commentary. But
yeah, no problem.
Yeah. All right. Let's get it started. In 3, 2, 1, go. So the first thing I'm going to do is forego a scoring strat that I would do if I were going for a PB. There is an opportunity to get a scoring bonus that involves taking a death intentionally here. I need all my lives because I have not been playing well. So I'm just going to do what would be construed as like quote-unquote normal to start. Doc, take it away.
Yeah, so this opening section really does a good job of demonstrating what exactly this game is about. So he has two primary weapons. On his ship, he has the forward-facing regular shot that he's using right now, and that can be used to hit enemies and objects in the foreground, like all the enemies that he's shooting down right now. But the more interesting and unique part about this game is the lock shot that we saw demonstrated at the very beginning. So anything that is in the background, be it enemies or objects like these tanks or boulders, if the cursor hovers over them, he will lock on. And at any given time, he can press the B button on his controller in order to unleash a laser barrage that will destroy anything that he's locked onto. The reason why this is important, there are a couple reasons for our purposes. Whenever he destroys enemies with the lock shot, he will get a score multiplier bonus for how many things he locked onto for that particular chain. He can lock on to a maximum of 8 objects at once, and the way it works is that the first thing you lock onto, you just get base score for that enemy. Second laser gives you double score. Third gives you times 4, then times 8, all the way up to a multiplier of times 128 if he uses a full 8 lock chain. So it's pretty important. The name of the game for scoring is to make as many 8 lock chains as he possibly can, and it also to make sure that he locks on to the highest score value enemies with the last chains. So really this game is highly choreographed because things are constantly spawning in from the background or shooting in from the background. So there will generally be a lot of stuff for him to lock onto while dealing with whatever is in the foreground. And we'll also see him often delay locking onto things if he needs to. A good example is right here. So the base of this turret that he just destroyed, if he destroys that with an 8 chain, which I didn't catch if he did,
I got it.
but
it's worth
that is worth like 99,000 points. So the basic gist is that he will either be keeping enemies alive longer than he needs to in order to create a larger lock chain, like slowly on, or waiting for other enemies to scroll on the screen. This particular chain is a very cool one. He's waiting for the enemies to come into the foreground, because if he does, before killing them with the lock chain, they spawn these missiles that he can gun down for extra points. So there are these little scoring optimizations that he's going to do throughout the run where he's going to be trying to kill things as fast as he can before they give him too much of a hassle, but also delaying kills when he can in order to gain more score from it. So we're now deep into stage 2. There is this set piece battleship that he's fighting right now. And the main scoring trick for this is going to deploy these smaller popcorn-style enemies. You can see 2 of them on screen, and those popcorn, they have fuel silos that they drop, and those are worth a lot of points if he can lock kill them, and so he's going to lock on to the boss a whole lot for like a number of lasers, and then lock off the last 1 or 2 for the fuel silos. So coming to the end, are we going to see a screen wrap?
No, I don't go for that. That's for kidders. I ain't a kidder.
Okay, but it's funny.
It is a very funny thing you can do. Basically, you can get that battleship to screen wrap while it's dying, but it's sort of a cosmetic thing that doesn't actually increase your score. So, kind of a luxury that I'm not ready to start putting in. That has been a pretty good couple stages so far. Now I'm going to be fighting the second boss, which is kind of an intense sort of thing because I need to get lots of lock-ons and
so this
get
boss
all 3 sets of popcorns here.
Yeah, so this boss is pretty highly choreographed, like much of the game. It has these targets on top of it that he can shoot with his forward shot. The boss itself he can only damage with the lock-on laser. What he's doing right now is he's delaying damaging the boss enough to enter into its second phase because he wants to spawn as many of these small waves of enemies that he can shoot down for extra points. At this point, like, we're past all of that, and he's just going to go for the kill. We saw it earlier before, if he hits the center of the boss enough times, the core comes out and he can shoot it with the lock-on laser. The other like kind of fun, interesting thing of note here is that the developers of this game, Taito, really like their lasers, and making them move in fun and novel ways. Those were slightly homing and forced them to move in a more aggressive way towards the boss, actually, in order to avoid getting hit. So we're moving right into the third stage. I particularly love this transition as he enters into the atmosphere. It's a rather pixelated background image at this point, but it's still very charming. He's coming into.
It's the most gorgeous ugly thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. So now we have this mid-boss, and this mid-boss is pretty fun because it spawns these arms that are constantly shooting lasers at him. He can destroy them with his forward shot, and after he does, shortly, they'll respawn. You can't actually damage the boss except with his lock shot, but right now he is intentionally delaying killing the boss so that he can get as many arms as he can. It might be leaving soon.
It would have left right away, so I just killed it off. The conditions under which that thing leaves are still not fully understood to me, so I tend to I like err on the side of going early.
And then we saw these enemies. He's keeping them alive on purpose. They can destroy as many of the missiles as they spawn as he can. Coming up to some chains, he's going to try and get as many of the boats as he can. That was a clean 38k. If you look, whenever he makes a chain of lockshot kills, the game will actually tell you how many points he scored. So for now, the big target is that connector between the islands. That was a clean 64k. And there's another connector on the other side of the island, another 64k, very nice.
So if you lock these guys,
so now,
they stop shooting, which is nice.
Yeah. The game actually does have a dynamic difficulty system. Locally in shmups we call it rank. And right now it is maxed out because he hasn't died yet. And ideally we're going to see it
stay there if I can.
Yeah.
This game gets kind of weird.
Yeah.
The rank is actually incredibly noticeable in this game. I hesitate to call it a rank 'em up like Durega or whatever, but it definitely is very noticeable when you're on low rank in a way that can actually make it more difficult to play the game if you're used to living.
Yeah, I think with regards to dying, the most important thing, and the reason why he does not want to die, is because whenever he does, he's going to lose a level of shot power, and more importantly, a level of lock-on laser power, which means that he'll no longer be able to do 8 chain locks until he picks up another power-up.
Yeah.
And so that will compromise his ability to score until he gets another one. This particular boss, the turrets on the side respawn, and he wants to kill them as quickly as he can, not only for extra points, but also because some of the attacks that they shoot can be mean. And so it's a nice safety strat as well. So we're probably coming in towards the end of this boss as a very cool death animation once he gets it, so keep an eye out for that. But for now, yeah, so
just one more.
You can see like some of the laser attacks. Yeah. And those lasers that make a hard right and then go horizontally towards the player, yeah, it's much better just not to have to deal with that. So you can do that either by killing them quickly or by scrolling them off the screen, in which case a laser off the screen does not exist, and he doesn't have to worry. So,
the cannons are also worth 1,000 points each, so like that's
pretty good.
It's worth milking them all out, which is why I was so. Ooh, hello.
Yeah, so coming into to stage 4, we're seeing the first real instance of what we might call bullet streaming. So as those smaller popcorn enemies, they're popcorns because you shoot them and they go pop. When they come on screen, they shoot, their bullets are actually aimed at them, as are most of the bullets in this game. What this means is that he knows where the bullets are going to be going at any given time and control where they go, much like this. So he's positioning himself high on the screen so that they shoot almost horizontally. That way he can just move down to the bottom of the screen, and it's a lot easier for him to dodge them than if he were trying to do something wild near the bottom. So now we're coming into a couple lock chains for this highway here, and I believe the idea is that he's going to try and what are the targets here? I think it's got to be
the tanks for the most part, and then the blue ships are the most valuable.
Yeah. I mean, you got a clean 25k from that chain just now, and yeah, that was 39k. So yeah. Very good stuff. We're coming towards the end.
Okay. This pace is ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah, so one final set piece tower for the boss.
I screwed up a little bit, but I didn't die, so that's the most important part.
Yes.
Dying is really bad, especially at certain points, like when there's a long stretch before your next laser. But then also, you can keep collecting like power-ups after your max power, and the value goes up for those until 10,000 points, and that value is reset if you die, which is an underrated source of score loss when you take a death in this game.
Yeah. So, coming into the fourth boss, there are a couple things going on here. One is that he destroyed some of the green laser turrets on the legs as quickly as he could, because they shoot those very bendy lasers that are difficult to deal with. Another cute little thing that he can do is that whenever the legs take a step, they generate some debris that he can shoot down for a small amount of hit points, but it's there. The main thing with this boss is that there's an alternate way of killing it, where if you destroy 2 of the legs, you get points for destroying the legs, but if you destroy 2, the boss will fall into the chasm and die, and you won't get the points for destroying it. So he's going to try and destroy 1 leg, the boss will stop moving, and then he'll destroy the boss, and...
I opened the party ball there.
And get full points.
Yeah, so basically, like, the boss, you always get this, like, 250,000 for killing the boss, right? But you don't get the 50,000 points for the core. So that's why you need to make sure that you kill the core and not the 2 legs.
Yeah. So, some relaxing opening channels at the start of stage 5. That first one especially is not particularly difficult because the enemies just fly into your cursor. But it looks
these
really
jerks. Alright, whatever.
So he is going to keep some of the enemies in the background alive longer than you might expect, and the reason why is because he can use these larger enemies coming into the foreground. He can lock onto them while they're coming up, and that lets him get later lock shots on the enemies in the background, which are worth a higher amount of points. He's now on the highway section, and there's a really cute section right here. Oh, I missed one. Those 3 enemies, if he positions his cursor right on the highway as they're coming in, they'll just run into the cursor instead of him having to track them down, which would actually be a pretty strict timing window in order to nail. In any case, moving on, the cars, he actually has to lock onto them twice in order to kill them, or rather he can get points from them twice. The first lock destroys the turret itself, the second destroys the base of the car.
The base is worth more, so I want to put the half-destroyed cars at the end of the chain.
Yeah. And now I believe we're coming towards the end of the highway section.
Yeah,
a couple more enemies.
Jerk boss.
Yeah, so this boss is very mean. Luckily, I don't think there are too many outright scoring tricks. The idea is he is going to gun down some of the extra parts, and when he does, the boss will... Very impressive dodging that.
Well, if you position yourself there, you can just dodge straight down.
Yeah. When he destroys a section, the boss will go into the background very briefly so they can get some blocks on it and deal more damage. And essentially, the longer the boss is alive, the more dangerous it is. And so ideally, he just guns it down. You'll notice that he's very close to the boss. This is actually because there is a gap in his shots if he's right at the bottom edge of the screen.
Oh, I didn't get a laser. That's too bad. So I'm gonna lose a little bit of score in the very beginning of the next stage. Thankfully, there is a laser not far from here. So, it is random whether you get a shot power up or a laser power up when you die. And it kind of feels like it's weighted towards a shot power up.
Yeah. So, coming into stage 6, this stage, the main thing are these turrets. He's leaving these hatches alive a little bit longer than he normally would in order to get some missiles to spawn. There will be some more turret hatches right here, and he's actually going to delay destroying some of these, not only to get some missiles, but also so that he can get an 8-chain on the turrets right behind them, which are worth more points. If you notice really quickly, the one that he locked onto with the 8th laser gave him 39k, so really, really good. These enemies are very mean because of the lasers they spawn. There is one silver lining to the death that he took, and that is because the rank or the difficulty of the game is dramatically decreased, and so those lasers are moving very slow. That could either be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how much they're crowding out the screen.
Yeah,
in
it's
any
like-
case, for now.
One of the biggest difficulties of like playing low rank in this game is just
Yeah.
dealing with how much extra stuff there is on screen sometimes. Oops.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, that was pretty rude.
Yeah, so
I
to
didn't
explain
get a laser either.
this mid-boss, it's spawning these tanks, these turrets on the side, and he wants to destroy those with high chain locks if he can, because they're worth a very large amount of points if he does. And so normally the way that he would do that is by getting a couple locks on the boss and then locks on turrets afterwards in order to take his points. Right now we are in an interesting situation, but we should be able to stabilize. This last section here, he's actually locking on to the turret at the bottom that he wants to get the high lock on, and he's actually letting the lock time out before locking onto it again and unleashing the lock shot. Very clever way of ensuring that he gets the late lock on the target that he wants. Now we're coming up to these pillars. Each of the pillars has 3 segments, 2 horizontal segments, and a segment holding it up. And he cannot pass through the horizontal segments, and everything respawns. So we see him getting horizontal segments and lock killing the vertical segment in order to pass by. He's actually getting multiple kills on the horizontal segments there. Nice way to milk a little bit of score. There's a laser power-up. Are the popcorn enemies going to let him get it? Yes, they are. Okay, so we're now coming up on the boss of Stage 6. So this boss is going to have a number of destructible segments that he is going to try and gun down. Not too fast, because the boss will also spawn these orbs that he can shoot down for extra score. But eventually he is going to want to go for the kill. I think there should be a couple more waves before he destroys the thing on the side. Okay, so now getting into the final phase of the boss. These lasers, the blue lasers are fixed. Yeah, and the purple lasers home in. He's just going to go for the kill. For marathon safety, there are the purple lasers.
Yeah, I could have milked it out a little bit more. It could have gotten like maybe 20,000 points more from additional orbs, but considering what a dog's breakfast that Stage 6 was, I'm just getting out of here. We're gonna reset, and we're gonna feel better later.
Yeah. So,
these guys come in randomly. It's difficult to predict where they'll be, and they spew a lot of bullets. So you have to be very careful about how you approach this.
Yes, so we're in the final stage, and already, gosh, time flies. I want to call attention to the background that we're coming up on. The artwork in this game is incredible, as is the music just in general. But in particular, this background, the curvature that they did in order to simulate a 3-dimensional space is really spectacular, and not something that you see in too many other games of this variety.
Yeah, this game was extremely concerned with like conveying depth in a way
so
that not a lot of games at the time were.
Yeah, so the enemies he's shooting down, they spawn these circles that shoot lasers at him. It's really important that he destroys all of them, not only for extra score, but just so that like they don't kill him. And now we're coming towards a particularly mean rush of popcorn enemies. Difficulty's a little lower than max, so I'm hopeful that he can get through just fine. They seem to be being kind, famous last words. And looks like...
Uh-oh, I'm getting stuck. Alright, I lived.
Okay, yeah. Good. So then there's about one more rush of enemies before the final boss. He's going to do something very specific coming up here, where he's going to leave 2 of these yellow starships alive.
Okay.
In order to get an 8-lock chain kill on them.
Get it.
This one, that's a shame. Then now all of these targets in the background are going to spawn power-ups for him, so you can get back to full power and also get a little chunk of extra score from just picking up one of those power-ups. Full power in this game, resources, the lasers are critically important, but compared to a lot of other shmups, you don't really have the tools for easily controlling the screen, because your shot's very narrow. You don't have a smart bomb or anything similar to cancel bullets and act as a general get out of jail free card, and your ship is also a little slower.
That's
than my
brutal.
Yeah, that pattern's so mean. Darn. This is gonna come down to the wire then.
Yeah, I'm just gonna straight up speed kill here, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not in a position to PB anyways, so I think the easiest way to speed kill is just to kill. Oops, hang on. Okay, I'm supposed to be in the corner for that, by the way.
The way you do that pattern, the safe spot is right at the edge of the screen.
I'm just gonna kill both of these arms really quickly here, and we're gonna forget about score for the rest of this, because I am at 1 HP.
Yeah. So,
I just accidentally did a
final
score
phase.
thing. Hang on. I am the biggest dummy on the universe. Okay, whatever. I didn't have to do this. This is silly. Whatever. It didn't have to be this way. All I had to do was just continue spamming lasers, but instead I got too cute by accident, and here we are, on credit 2 of this 1cc run.
Yes, well, I mean, milking beyond sense is something that we all do.
Alright, well, that's it. GG.
GG.
It's embarrassing. Oh well. I was telling myself not to do that, and then I just did it anyways.
Yeah, it's very embarrassing. You made it to the final phase of the boss on a scoring pace far better than most players of this game will ever see, and then died at the very end. Happens to the best of us.
And the rest of us sometimes, too. Alright, thanks for having me, everybody. I hope I got the opportunity to show off, especially like 5.5 stages or so of really good play. Of solid shmup game in there. Yeah, I'm gonna continue playing this game for the foreseeable future. Thanks again for having me. Thanks for the commentary, Doc. And excited to see the rest.
Yeah, thank you so much for that incredible run. Even though it wasn't 1cc, it was still incredible to watch. But everyone, stick around. We still have more runs coming up tonight here at Game Over Cancer. We'll be back with our next run in just a moment.